What's up guys, welcome back to Mendoza Auto Garage. So I wanted to take you guys out really quick and show you guys something. Today is a special day because I just got back from finding out, well, we had our ultrasound, me and my wife, and they didn't tell us what the gender was, but they were able to tell what the gender was and put it in an envelope, and we will be having our gender reveal soon. So stay tuned for that. But today's episode, I actually wanted to chat with you guys about a customer that I had. We're in their vehicle. So this is a 2016 Honda CRV with the 2.4 liter Earth Dreams engine. Now, he originally took this vehicle to dealership, Honda dealership. Gave me the paperwork and everything for it. Check engine light came on, and it was like in a, the check engine light came on, traction control light, four-wheel drive light came on, like it just lit up like a tree. Took it to a dealership. Dealership told him that it was possible that his fuel pressure sensor was not reading correctly, and that was causing his issue. That was my first red flag. If they would have actually driven the vehicle, but that's neither here nor there. Check engine light was on for P0087, which low fuel pressure indication. So they quoted him about $3,000 worth of work to start with replacing the fuel pressure sensor on the CRV. Now, the fuel pressure sensor is located on the fuel rail of this vehicle, and the fuel rail is actually in the intake manifold. But I want to show you guys something really quick. So I feel like the reason why they recommended that to him first was because to get to that fuel pressure sensor, like I said, it's on the fuel rail, and the fuel rail on these is actually underneath the intake manifold. So you actually have to remove the intake manifold to even get to the fuel rail, let alone the fuel pressure sensor. Then they were quoting him for replacing the injectors while they were there because they require special seals and just a lot of stuff that was not making sense to me. So he said, no, that's okay. A customer of mine referred him over to me, and he asked me if I could look at the car for him. So I said, yeah, I'd be more than happy to look over the car. Now, first thing I did when it got here was I tried to take it out for a test drive, and it had no power. You really could not give it any gas. You really had to let it idle across wherever you were going. If you gave it any gas, it would just bog down or die out. So I knew that the car was lacking fuel. Now, these vehicles have two fuel pumps. There's the regular pump, which is in the back of the tank, and then there's actually a mechanical pump that's driven off of the cam, and that's the high pressure fuel pump. So when I came to my scanner, let's see, I'm gonna stop the video real quick so I can show you guys what the scanner details. All right, guys, so here's the scanner information. It was on right now, but I turned it off. So here we go. This is all information that Honda should have been able to see. Now, we have the fuel pressure sensor and what it converts to. Now, in order for this to operate, one, we are getting signal from the fuel pressure sensor. So I'm going to start the car. Let's actually go to graph here. So before, this had a really hard start too. It would take a while for it to actually start. and the fuel pressure would jump, like just like you saw here. You would see it jump to about 1,000 psi, which is what it needs to kind of start, and then from there it would go all the way down to about 200 psi, which isn't enough for these high pressure fuel injectors. So when I saw this information and I saw that, hey, there is a jump and there's a spike when starting the car, that means that it is actually reading fuel pressure. So I don't believe it's the fuel pressure sensor. Number two, which was my first red flag, was if you are experiencing a lack of power, that means that there's something else going on other than a sensor. Now the sensor, all it does is monitor how high or how low the pressure is in the fuel rail. That has no bearing on how the vehicle operates or not. It doesn't shut anything down. It doesn't shut down injectors. It literally just senses pressure. So, eliminating process, I thought to myself, okay, you physically cannot make the car go any faster because it wants to die out, which means there's a lack of fuel. And if this information is telling me that the fuel pressure is really low, that means that either the low pressure or the high pressure pump isn't working. Now, right now, this is only the high pressure that I'm showing you guys. On the low pressure pump, it was normal. It was like 36, and then it would jump to 47. It was in the normal range. It never was below the, designated amount that the low pressure fuel pump should be at. So I know that it was not the low pressure fuel pump, but obviously this number would go all the way down and it would not go up or down at all after the car was on when you were trying to accelerate it. Like right now, if I accelerate, you'll see it jumps up. That's the fuel pressure. So obviously this sensor is working. So I knew I could confidently tell the customer, hey, it's not actually your fuel pressure sensor, it's your mechanical fuel pump, which is for the high pressure. Now, when I went to go look up the information through my Mitchell 1, apparently in some earlier models of the CRV and Accord, they let me turn you guys back around. In some of the earlier models, 2014 and 15, apparently there was a recall or a special coverage. Not all special coverages are put out there to the public. It's public information, but you have to actually ask the dealership, and they won't always tell you. Where if it fell within a certain category, this repair would actually be done at no charge to the customer because they knew that there was a failure. But through more research, I found that these 2.4 liter K24 Earth Dream engines actually have a pretty common failure for these mechanical pumps. After 100,000 miles, and this car has 100,905 miles on it. So unfortunately, we had to get a new pump, but we got it done. We got it working. Just test drove the vehicle. That's my shop neighbors right there. Cool guys. They do a lot of Subarus. But for any of you guys that needed some information, this will at least give you some tips. I know it's really hard already as it is to trust, any shop, any mechanic, because you don't know if you're being told the truth. Unfortunately, 9 times out of 10 that I get customers that come in from a dealership, it's never what they say it is, and I always end up being able to save the customer some money. So in this case, the customer did not pay $3,000 for this repair, and I saved them quite a bit of a headache, and the $3,000 they would have spent there would not have actually fixed the issue. They would have ended up spending more. So make sure that your mechanic that you're taking your car to is trustworthy and that they'll take care of you. That's today's tech tip. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.